it reminds me of a story Jerry Falwell told many years ago. He was telling about that they had a big ice storm in Lynchburg, Virginia, and people just couldn't get out. It was just too bad. But the handful was going to restore Israel to its former greatness. They believed that he would be king of Israel, and they were right in assuming those things. They just were mistaken about when that was going to take place. And so the disciples believed that these things were going to happen in their lifetimes. And, I can understand that. They walked with him. They saw the miracles. They saw these things. But greater than what they were seeing. Occasions, Jesus tried to tell his men, they just couldn't grasp what Jesus was trying to tell them. On the second occasion, in Mark chapter 9, verse 31, they were all confounded by what Jesus said and could not get their minds around it. The Jews were looking for a Messiah, but they were really looking for a military leader, not a man who gets himself executed. They simply could not comprehend the truth that the Messiah would have to die to accomplish his divine mission on earth. So once again, Jesus tells this man about what's about to take place. He gives them the clearest and most detailed statement about his impending death, and this occurred as of Eden. Back in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. His death was pictured in the coats of skin that God made to cover the nakedness of Adam and Eve. His death was prefigured in every sacrifice and every offering at the tabernacle and the temple. His death was the theme of the Old Testament prophets. Jesus, in his death on the cross, would accomplish what millions and gallons of blood that was shed over the years in the Old Testament system failed to do. His death would accomplish what Adam's fig leaves could never have done. His death on the cross would fully, eternally, and perfectly pay for the sins of all those who would place their faith in him. As Jesus made his way toward Jerusalem, the plan of salvation was on his mind. He was headed there to fully deal with sin, and nothing would stop him from getting there. Letter C. He was focused on a people. You know, it wasn't a place, it wasn't a plan that had the Lord's attention that day. His mind was focused on the people. Before he was born, the angel told Joseph in Matthew 1:21, and she will bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. And so Jesus came to this world with people on his mind. Who was on his mind? All those who would believe in him to be saved. All those who would be given to him by the Father. And all those in him before the foundation of the world. He had his mind on all this who bow before the Father and confess their sins and confess Jesus as their Savior. He died for all those who believed in the gospel. In other words, if you have the gift of salvation and you are saved, you were on his mind as he walked to that hill. Jesus was walking, but he had you on his mind. That's an amazing thought, isn't it? That he would know right then at that time exactly who you were, where you would be, and where you would find him. What an awesome Savior we have. Number 2, Jesus and his followers. In verse 32, it says, Now they were on the road going up to Jerusalem, and Jesus was going before them, and they were amazed, and as they followed, they were afraid. Then he took the 12 aside and began to tell them the things that would happen to him. So these verses don't simply talk about the Savior. They're also telling us something of the mindset of his men. You know, they were amazed by what he was saying. They were amazed by all what they were doing, but they were also afraid. And so this is the word in the original language that we get our translate it to phobia. Have you got phobias? Is there anything that you have a phobia of? All right, let me hear it. What's your phobia? Frogs? Okay.